All right, 6.6, we talk more about proportionality and what it means to be proportional. Today we're going to discover what does proportional mean and how can we use proportions in triangles. So we're going to use some proportions and find out different side lengths in triangles. And we have a couple theorems. Theorem 6.4 says the triangle proportionality theorem. If a line that is parallel to one side of a triangle intersects the other two sides. So for example, line TU. That line divides the sides proportionally. So what that means is if TU is parallel to QS, so these two blue lines are parallel, then what we know is that RT, segment RT over segment QT, so this part right here over this part is equal to RU over US. Again, RU over US. So on the top side, it is the long part over the shorter part equals the long part over the shorter part. And that's only when there's a parallel line going through the triangle. And theorem 6.5, the converse of the triangle proportionality theorem says that if a line divides two sides of a triangle proportionally, then it is parallel to the third side. So in this example, if we know that RT over TQ equals RU over US, then we know that segment TU is parallel to segment QS. So those two things go hand in hand. Parallel lines imply the sides are proportional. The sides being proportional would mean that the lines are parallel. And then example 1 is getting into using this. So we see that in the diagram, segment QS is parallel to segment UT. RQ equals 10, RS equals 12, and ST equals 6. What is the length of QU? So we're looking for X. So just like above, we know that if you take the longer side over the shorter side, it's equal to the other long side over the shorter side. And that's because the lines are parallel. So we know that 10 over X is equal to 12 over 6. And that was from those theorems up above. So from here we cross multiply. 12 times X equals 10 times 6. So 12X equals 60. And we're trying to find X. X is QU, that's the missing piece. To get X alone, we divide by 12. X equals 5. So what that means is QU equals 5 because we called QU X. So using proportions to find the missing piece of a triangle. All right, we slide down. Example 2. It says a spoiler for a remote controlled car is shown where AB is equal to 31 millimeters. BC is 19 millimeters. CD is 27 millimeters, and DE is 23 millimeters. Explain why segment BD is not parallel to segment AE. So I'm going to draw this a little bigger over here, this triangle right here. So if we draw it, just scale it up a little bit so we can see it better. We have A, C, E, D, B. And they're telling us that AB is 31. BC is 19. CD is 27. And DE is 23. Explain why BD is not parallel to. So above we talked about that if they're parallel, then the sides will be proportional. So let's see if the sides are proportional. So let's take 19 over 31. And that should be equal to 27 over 23. If we cross multiply, 19 times 23 should equal 27 times 31, if the sides are parallel. So when we cross multiply, 19 times 23 is 437. And 27 times 31 is 837. So we can see that these are clearly not equal. So if they are not equal, that means they are not parallel. So we'd say not parallel. Because y, we would say sides not proportional. So that's our reason why. The sides are not proportional, so therefore we know that the lines are not parallel. All right, then we got a checkpoint. Find the length of KL. We're going to call KL x. So again, we're going to be using proportions. So if we do x over 18, that's going to be equal to 44 over 24. So we set up the proportion, and now we're going to cross multiply. 24 times x is equal to 18 times 44. So 24x equals 792. Divide by 24. X will equal 33. So KL is 33 in this one. Okay, and then we have checkpoint 2, where it says determine whether QT is parallel to RS. So if they're parallel, we're going to set up proportions with this side and this side. So the top side, we could do 18 over 38. The bottom side would be 36 over 80. And these would be equal to each other if they're proportional. So if we cross multiply, 18 times 80 would be equal to 38 times 36. Right, and 38 times 36 is 1,368. 18 times 80 is 1,440. And these are not equal. So are the lines parallel? They are not parallel because the sides are not proportional. So not parallel, sides are not proportional. And then we have two more theorems here. Theorem 6.6 says if three lines intersect two transversals, then they divide the transversals proportionally. So again, more proportions. So we have on the right, if UW, if these three lines are parallel, and we know UW over WY, so UW over WY is equal to VX over XZ. So there's one dot, two dots, and down here I'm going to put one dot and two dots, just so you can kind of see where they match up there. And theorem 6.7 says if a ray bisects an angle of a triangle, then it divides the opposite side into segments whose lengths are proportional to the lengths of the other sides. So here, if it divides an angle, a ray bisects an angle, we would know that AD over DB is equal to AC over BC. So we basically take the top part, the parts up here, and make a fraction, and the bottom part. So you see how the top part AD and AC is above the line, and the bottom part DB and BC, those are down here. So we're making a fraction. We're kind of following a pattern here. And then we have, I think, two more examples and a couple checkpoints. So example 3, a farmer's land is divided by a newly constructed interstate. The distances shown are in meters. Find the distance from C to A between the north border and the south border. So we want to know how far is it from C to A. To know that, we have to find out what is X. And X is that piece right there from B to C. So to find X, we're going to set up a proportion. And we can see that these lines are all parallel. So now we're going to do a proportion with the left side and the right side. So what that means on the left side, it will be 2,000 over X is equal to, on the right side, it will be 2,500 over 3,000. And we will cross multiply and solve. We get 2,500X is equal to 3,000 times 2,000. And you can see we took the left side that's in blue and made a fraction. And then we took the right side, the 2,500 and the 3,000, and made another fraction. And now we're going to solve this. We would divide by 2,500. X equals 2,400. So that means right here, this part is 2,400. So if you want to find the blue line from A to C, we would do AC is equal to 2,400 plus 2,000. Because we're going to add up these two parts. So AC is equal to 4,400. And this is in meters. So it'll be 4,400 meters from A to C. Okay, example 4. In the diagram, angle DEG is congruent to angle GEF. So that means it bisects the angle. Use the given side lengths to find the length of DG. So the first thing, this gets kind of tricky. We know how big this part is, but we don't know what this green part is on the right. If the entire thing is 14, this green part is going to end up being the whole thing minus X. Basically, this whole side is 14. So 14, take away the red part, was 14 minus X. And then we have to set up a proportion. So the stuff on the left side of the bisector is going to be together, and the stuff on the right side is going to be together. So we can do X over 8 is equal to 14 minus X over 12. And from here we will cross multiply. Again, X over 8 equals 14 minus X over 12. We end up with 12X equals 8 times 14 minus X. So 12X equals 8 times 14. And 8 times 14 is 112 minus 8x. So we're going to do 8 times negative x and we get negative 8x. So if we solve this, we subtract 112. And we end up with negative 100 equals 8x. Or sorry, equals negative 8. I totally forgot about my minus sign. So there's a negative sign here, so I need to have a negative sign in front here. So then we're going to divide by negative 8 to get x equals positive 12.5. So if x is 12.5, and here it said to find the length of DG. So x is 12.5. That means d to g is equal to 12.5. Right, and then our checkpoints are just some more proportions. So if we're looking for AB, we'll call that x. You would set up your proportions. We would do, this line would stick together and be a proportion, and the bottom line would be a proportion. So 32 over 24 will be the right over the left is equal to x over 27. And from here we cross multiply. 24x equals 32 times 27. So 24x equals 32 times 27 is 864. And then divide by 24. X equals 864 divided by 24 is 36. So A to B is 36. And then if we go over here to number 4, we're trying to find AB, so we're going to call AB, we'll call it Y this time. We're looking to find this side length. And we can see this is an angle bisector. It cuts it into 2 equal angles. So our fraction could be, or should be, 1 over Y equals 1 over the square root of 2. And if we cross multiply, we will get 1y equals 1 times square root of 2. So y equals the square root of 2. All right, and those are how we can use proportions to find missing side lengths using triangles.